Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, amazingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So, welcome aboard. Tonight is Wednesday, January 25th, 2023. This is live stream 879. If this is your first time hanging out, let me point out, super casual around here. We just talk about the latest in tabletop gaming news and take a look at a tabletop game. We're certainly not engaging in rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. Just hanging out, having some fun. And tonight, I am going to unbox and take a first look at Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, the game from Cryptozoic Entertainment. Yes, we will be diving on into the deluxe edition of this game in just a bit. But of course, if you're not familiar with the stream, I do want to mention we always tackle the tabletop gaming news first. So if you are tuning in, get a peek at the deluxe edition of Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, the game. It'll probably be about 35 minutes or so before we jump on in. So if you're hanging out live, just put your feet up, relax, enjoy yourself. But if you watch this stream 30 minutes or more after it ends, there will be timestamps. So if you are impatient, you just got to get to that unboxing, you'll be able to do so. Those timestamps will be located in the show notes, and depending on the sort of device you're watching this on, maybe right there in front of you in the timeline of the video. So make it easy peasy for you to jump ahead. Of course, when you're not watching videos here on the Gaming Gang channel, don't forget, stop by thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, it's a live stream, so that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat as well. Yet another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. Looks like chat is off and running already. First out the gate was the Motor City Madman himself. Yes, the Madman is with us, one of our chat moderators. Deja Vu. Deja Vu. Getting a sense of deja vu. Deja Vu is with us, as is Kathy Evans. Shaz is with us. Stray Kismet, Christopher Rush, 245 Trioxin, Kevin R. Smith, Roger Prudhomme. Prudhomme. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's Prudhomme. Probably closer with that secondary backup pronunciation. Dan Kellogg's with us. And I think I said hello to Flaming Huron, another of our chat moderators. So 2 of our 4 chat moderators are hanging out in chat with us right now. So looks like we've got a nice chat off and running tonight. So Roger says, yeah, that's about right. And last night, I mistakenly referred to Roger as Richard. I will not do that again. But yeah, sorry about that. All right, let's jump on into the news because I've got a nice eclectic mix tonight. Arriving in April from Gigamech and Hachette Board Games is the Galapagos Big Box. Here's the scoop. Galapagos Big Box combines the elements of Galapagos' base game and They're No Longer Alone expansion into a single box. Your group of survivors washed up on Galapagos, a desert island where resources are very scarce. Wouldn't it be a deserted island? Maybe. I don't know. I always find islands to be a desert to be odd, right? So it's in the middle of an ocean, but it's a desert? Your only way to escape Galapagos is to work together and build a raft. But time is short as a hurricane is approaching rapidly. I hate when that happens. As days go by, Galapagos will get the best of your group and turn friends into enemies. Diplomacy, wit, and skullduggery are all fair game if you're to survive this unforgiving adventure. Galapagos is a co-opetition game in which players struggle to survive on a desert island and build a raft to escape before a hurricane devastates them. While players need to work together, it is not likely that everyone will survive this backstabbing negotiation game for up to 12 players. The Galapagos Big Box is for 3 to 12 players, ages 10 and up, plays in around 20 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $29.99 when it arrives in stores on April 30th. Got to admit, I am not familiar with this game, but it has gone through a few different editions already. In fact, I think there was a bigger box back in the day that included this, either has like 2 or 3 expansions. So, but that is no longer in print. So this is the new edition that is coming out. And I got to say, this would probably work well at a party too, because it will accommodate up to 12 players. Flaming Heron says, damn, sucks to be a survivor on that island. Yes, I would think so. Moving right along. Next month is going to see an exclusive Target release from Ravensburger. Here's the skinny on the Lord of the Rings adventure book game. Say that 5 times fast. In the Lord of the Rings adventure book game, Sauron's shadow is fallen across Middle-earth, and the One Ring must be destroyed. In order to complete their daunting quest, players need to work together to help cherish Lord of the Rings characters' journey from the Shire to the fires of Mordor, all while avoiding the Eye of Sauron. This third entry into Ravensburger's adventure book line is broken into 8 chapters that are experienced over 8 different board game pages. Each new chapter provides puzzles and challenges that players need to overcome to advance the story. The game allows for flexible play for solo or cooperative family gaming, so players can choose their style of adventure, and each chapter takes approximately 20 minutes to play. The Lord of the Rings adventure book game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 10 and up. As mentioned, each chapter plays out in about 20 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $34.99 when it arrives in Target stores next month. Eventual release to other retailers won't take place until August. Christopher Rush asks, is Fatty in this game? Of course, everyone knows there are 5 hobbits that took part in the massive adventure to throw that ring into Mount Doom. Somebody had commented on yesterday's video saying that they could take some of the blame for Fatty being included in that Reiner Knizia Lord of the Rings game, because I guess Reiner Knizia was determined for it to be for up to 5 players. and wasn't sure how to do it. And I guess this playtest group kept saying, well, just add Fatty in. He's mentioned in the books. To me, I find it funny that Reiner Knizia was so damn determined to make sure that there would be 5 players in that game. He just completely borked Lord of the Rings. Yeah, whatever. I don't care what's in the movies and the books and the animated shows. I want 5 players. 5 players. Yes, I know he doesn't sound anything like that, but still. Man says up to 12 players on the Galapagos. Says his son was looking for a game that supported more than 6. They'll have to take a peek. Yes. I do find it interesting that we have 2 The Lord of the Rings games hitting stores. I think the other one is next month too, or maybe it was March. Makes you think that for some reason, these game companies must have thought that there would be this renewed interest in the Lord of the Rings for some reason. Yes, I'm looking at you, Amazon. How about some role-playing game news? Bundle of Holding is currently running a massive offer, which includes the Advanced Adventures line from Expeditious Retreat Press. And I've got the deets on the deal. Adventura! This new Advanced Adventures mega bundle presents PDFs of nearly 4 dozen short, ready-to-play tabletop role-playing game adventures in the long-running Advanced Adventures line from Expeditious Retreat Press. These 43 short scenarios, dungeon crawls inspired by the earliest versions of Dungeons & Dragons, show off the old-school revival style. Revival? Ha! It's a renaissance, I say. Renaissance! Tools, not plot lines. Rulings, not rules. A game master who doesn't railroad players onto a prearranged script, but lets them sink or swim through their own actions. Encounters aren't necessarily balanced, and outcomes are seldom scripted. Characters who don't use their heads usually wind up losing them. So why don't you tell us how you really feel about modern adventures? Designed for the open license Osric system, the old school reference and index compilation for those in the know, a free retro clone of first edition AD&D. These Advanced Adventures modules adapt easily to any old school fantasy role-playing game, such as Old School Essentials, and they fit smoothly into your ongoing campaign to let your player characters ramp from level 1 zeros to level 10 heroes. For just $9.95, you get all 12 titles in the starter collection, which has a retail value of $70, as DRM-free PDFs, including the first 10 AA modules from the pod caverns of the sinister shroom through the lost keys of solitude. And this also includes the 2009 bestiary Malevolent and Benign Volume 1, as well as that aforementioned free Osric rulebook. And if you pay more than the threshold price of $35.97, you'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection with 34 more titles worth an additional $210. All 33 remaining Advanced Adventure modules from the Conqueror Worm through the Warrens of Zagash, and hitting many highlights of the AA line, including Stonestead Delve, down the Shadow Vein, and the Mouth of the Shadow Vein, and both White Dragon Run scenarios. As an added bonus, you'll also get the 2018 Malevolent and Benign Volume 2 Monster Manual. These savings will run through February 13th. There is no charity benefiting from this, though. Strangely enough, we have seen that with a lot of these bundles, which I guess we will say are in response to the fallout surrounding Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons and Dragons, which is unfortunate. I would have liked to have seen, direct relief even, because I know it seems like that's the charity that kind of is like the default for many of these bundles of holding. But I gotta say, this is a pretty rocking deal, although I have no experience checking out the Advanced Adventures line. So, and I'm not commenting about this line of adventures, but we all know there's a lot of stank out there. So there are a lot of bad adventures just touting the OSR label on them. So Christopher Rush says, rulings, not rules. Love that motto. Yes. Well, that's how the old school always was, because you didn't have rules for everything. So a dungeon master, a game master, they had to decide, okay, well, you know what? This makes sense. That is my ruling. And you would try to stick to that in future games where it's like, oh, hey, you remember that time XYZ happened? Well, yeah, that's what I decided that time, and that's what we're going to do. Flaming Heron says, never let rules get in the way of a good adventure. That is like rule number 2 for me. Never let the rules slow down your adventure. If you don't know a rule is something, fudge it, keep going. After the session ends, take a look, see if you can find it. Don't stop the game to go searching through a rule book. It is, in my opinion, it's pretty much the absolute worst thing you can do at the game table without acting like a total oddball weirdo. All right, moving right along. Now up on Kickstarter for Onyx Path Publishing is Realms of Pugmire. Here's the latest. Welcome to Realms of Pugmire. It's a fantasy game about evolved pets and other animals with a strong connection to humanity, with dogs as the central characters. These characters live in the ruins of our world using tools, language, and ingenuity to build a new civilization in their image, with the kingdom of Pugmire acting as a center of dog civilization. Many of these dogs strive to learn about man, also known as the Old Ones. They defy humanity as examples all should strive to emulate. Other nations, such as the cats in the monarchies of Meow, have different perspectives on what came before, but all species recognize there was a world before this one, even though it's now populated with mysteries and dangers. As the dogs explore the world, they create and invent many new things, but also use what they can salvage. Some have even learned how to use these strange artifacts left behind by the Old Ones, rare and unusual magic relics, spells, and enchantments. We might dimly recognize them as the results of some far-flung futuristic invention, but any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. They're sort of lifting that from Arthur C. Clarke without giving any credit to Arthur C. Clarke. These heroic dogs, eager for mystery and danger, are the characters you portray as you explore this world, a world that is and yet isn't the one we know. One question will follow your every decision. Are you a good dog? There is a Kickstarter video. It is about 4 minutes long. It's a bit longer than we're used to seeing here on the Dispatch. But I know the Pugmire setting is very, very popular with a lot of people. And this just kicked off earlier this afternoon. It was super close to already funding. I'm taking a guess, maybe it already has. But let's take a peek at the video and you can learn more.
Imagine our world far in the future. Countless centuries have gone by and everything looks very different than it does now. Most buildings have crumbled to dust and broken roads are buried deep beneath dense forests and layers of rock. Here and there, the occasional ancient ruin or incomprehensible object surfaces, giving tantalizing glimpses of a world that once was. The work of mankind has been reclaimed by nature, but we're all gone. Humanity is no more, and those that remain, our best friends, start to reclaim our legacy. Hi, I'm Eddie Webb. Welcome to the Realms of Pugmire. It's a fantasy game about evolved pets and other animals with a strong connection to humanity, with dogs as the central characters. These characters live in the ruins of our world, using tools, language, and ingenuity to build a new civilization in their image, with the kingdom of Pugmire acting as the center of dog civilization. Many of these dogs strive to learn about man. They deify humanity as examples all should strive to emulate. Other nations, such as the cats of the monarchies of Mao, have different perspectives on what came before, but all species recognize that there was a world before this one, even though it's now populated with mysteries and dangers. As dogs explore the world, they create and invent many new things, but also use what they can salvage. Some have even learned how to use the strange artifacts left behind by man. They see these as literal gifts from their gods, rare and unusual magic relics, spells, and enchantments. We might dimly recognize them as the results of some far-flung futuristic invention, but any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. These heroic dogs, eager for mystery and danger, are the characters you portray. As you explore this world, a world that is and yet isn't the one we know, one question will follow your every decision. Are you a good dog? Realms of Pugmire is the next edition of the Pugmire role-playing game. Some highlights of this new edition include an evocative and mysterious setting that is both family-friendly and deep enough to create compelling stories. A traditional fantasy rules system redesigned for streamlined play and easy creation of heroic dogs, with an emphasis on cooperation and action over competition and violence. A variety of callings and breeds that give access to several fun and interesting tricks. And rival species to interact with, like cats and rodents, along with terrifying and dangerous monsters that roam the landscape. New features of this edition include lots of refined and clarified rules developed after years of playing and community feedback, new and updated tricks, spells, masterworks, and enemies, new features such as random and template character creation, friendship rules, and safety tool advice for guides, as well as advice on how to create cat and rodent player characters right away, and converting older materials to the new edition. This crowdfunding campaign is designed to allow my friends at Onyx Path Publishing to fund a print run of Realms of Pugmire, allowing us to make the book available in game stores everywhere. And now is a great time to do that, because since I first started working on Pugmire back in 2014, its popularity has exploded. It's been reviewed on websites like Forbes, The Nerdist, and Geek and Sundry. It's been featured on YouTube channels such as Extra Credits, The Shaving Throw Show, and The Gentleman Gamer. And Pugmire has been made into an interactive audio drama, a card game, a fiction anthology, and so much more. Over the past few years, I have been blown away by the generosity of crowdfunding backers. The Pugmire community has all been immensely supportive of my world, and I knew I wanted to bring the next big step in the Pugmire story back to where it all began. With your help, we can create a great game to put in the stores, and if we find it quickly, we're planning stretch goals to really expand on the realms. If this sounds like something you'd like, please pledge whatever you think is fair. And if you can, spread the word to your friends and family who might also be interested, because right now, we all need some good dogs.
As I mentioned previously, the Realms of Pugmire project is rapidly approaching its funding goal. If it hasn't already done so now, you can reserve a copy in PDF for a $25 pledge, or grab a copy of the hardcover for a $55 pledge through February 23rd, with an expected digital delivery in August of 2024, and physical copies to arrive in March of 2025. I was very shocked to see that. It's sort of like, so we're looking at like over a year and a half for the digital product and over 2 years for the physical hardcovers. I was very surprised. Now I'm wondering if Onyx Path Publishing is sort of thinking, well, everybody's Kickstarters are being delayed for a variety of different reasons. Let's just push our expected dates way out there. So if we can actually get them early, people will be pleasantly surprised. So that is a possibility. I know a lot of people really dig the Pugmire setting, and I got to be honest, I'm not positive because I didn't watch the entire video. I don't know if this is going to utilize the storyteller system that the Onyx Path uses for, say, like, they came from beneath the sea and they came from beyond the grave. But I would take a guess that is probably going to be the case because this is supposed to be rules light. And I'm pretty sure the original Pugmire releases are 5e compatible. So we know why this is happening. Although I would take a stab in the dark. This is probably something that was already on the agenda for Onyx Path Publishing. This just probably the fallout surrounding Wizards of the Coast probably sped this on its way. And Giga Chadmish is with us. Welcome aboard. So the Madman says they just received their copies of Frosthaven and Fighters of the Pacific over the past couple of days. Fighters of the Pacific isn't that the one that was released through Ares Games? And it's like, I think the core game includes like 4 carriers and some aircraft and things like that. So I was like, I know I've shared news about it. So Roger says, waiting for The Witcher Old World, which was supposed to be out in June of last year. Yeah, it is disappointing to see so many Kickstarters so behind. But, there's a whole bunch. So Christopher Rush says, I think you just sold my wife on this Kickstarter. Well, Mrs. Rush, enjoy Realms of Pugmire when it arrives in 2024, at least digitally. I would, like I said, that seems way out there, especially for something where they could essentially recycle a lot of artwork that they've already released, because there are multiple Pugmire releases out there. It's not just one setting book. I don't know. It's kind of weird, kind of strange. My final news piece, the science fiction role-playing game Galactic Odyssey is now available in PDF from Keck Publishing. Here's what I know. Let the Odyssey begin. Galactic Odyssey is a fast-paced game of daring space battles, swashbuckling adventures, and intriguing personal conflict set in the far future of the Milky Way galaxy. The Terrans have found their way into the stars, and though they proclaim to be an advanced species, they haven't lost their lust for dominance or greed for wealth. Scheming to conquer each new world they discover, the humans attempt to enslave or destroy nearly every species they meet. These aliens began fighting back in hopes of securing their freedom from this plague of human tyranny. Will you be one of the few that finally turns back the tide of the Terran Galactic Initiative? Damn you humans! The Player's Handbook gives you everything you need to create your character, be it a new alien species or a human who is sympathetic to the galaxy's plight at the hands of their kind. The Player's Handbook includes descriptions of the gear, robots, vehicles, and starships that are available to your character. There's also a section on the rules for personal, vehicle, and starship combat, and information on the galaxy and the worlds and species found within it. The Game Master's Guide has everything you need to run countless adventures in a galaxy very close to home. Inside, you'll find all the character creation rules, combat rules, stats for weaponry, robots, atmospheric vehicles, starships, and the rules to use them. The GM Guide also includes details of the galaxy, such as the Terran Galactic Initiative, those nasty humans, several established planets and alien character and creature species. It also includes a random star system and planet generation system. The 278-page Player's Handbook is available right now in PDF for $3.99. While you can also get the 352-page Game Master's Guide for Galactic Odyssey in PDF for $7.99 over at Drive-Thru RPG. That is a smoking deal, kids. We're looking at over 600 pages of content for $12, even if you didn't run the system, right? It's gotta be some things you can crib for your own science fiction role-playing games, right? Yeah, maybe you're running a Traveler campaign. I guarantee there's some cool stuff in this. So I was really shocked because I ran across it. I saw, oh, hey, this is new. This is new over on Drive-Thru RPG. And I thought, oh, $3.99. That's probably what, 80 pages, maybe. Then I looked at it, I was like, 278 pages. It's like, what? Kevin says they just got their Earth Dawn Kickstarter that was supposed to be fulfilled in May of last year. Hey, at least you're getting Kickstarters. There are Kickstarters out there that people backed and they're never seeing anything. So there you go. Madman points out there's a couple of games they backed that have taken nearly 2 years and a couple more that'll likely be the same. And yes, we do know, unfortunately, as I mentioned, there are companies out there who took your money and they are not going to fulfill. Which is one of the reasons why I've never been huge on Kickstarter. For one, I've always said that Kickstarter it's not used for what it was originally meant to be used for. So small publishers, small game companies, yes, by all means. And and I'm not knocking some of my friends in the industry who use Kickstarter. But there are companies out there that they're just using it for order fulfillment. They don't need that capital to be able to, go to press with a game. So Kevin says, hey, they weren't complaining. They never had a Kickstarter not fulfill, but some have taken a long time. So Animaru is one that the Madman mentions, funded in 2019. Don't think they'll ever see it. That's not something I'm familiar with. I don't believe I shared news about that. Hopefully I didn't. Christopher says, see, and this is funny because this is what I always think. Because I did back the Hyperborea Kickstarter because a fan out there sent me money saying, hey, I want you to be able to check out Hyperborea when it comes out. Please use this for the Kickstarter. So I did, and then I forgot about it. And then, I got an update. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. It's coming out soon. Sweet. William Hell His Eyes is with us in chat. Welcome aboard. All right, so that's it for the news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. Don't forget, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, Drive-Thru RPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a very small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always swing on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation, such as our friend Roger P., who's in chat, as well as the Madman. They both recently made donations over at paypal.me, as did Craig Watkins. So, and they were not small donations either. So thank you to everybody out there who uses the banner ads and or visits paypal.me. Right, so a few things I did want to mention before we dive on in to Batman the Dark Knight Returns, the game from Cryptozoic Entertainment. First of all, tomorrow, well, actually, I'll get to that in a sec. Did want to mention, I was under the weather on Monday. I think I had a little bout of food poisoning. Because later that evening, thankfully, I did not I didn't vomit. But I felt like it most of the evening. I was like, oh, I really don't want to do this. And then the next morning, I woke up and I was fine. So I think, and I kind of, as strange as it sounds, I think it was from a cherry turnover. Zoinks! So there is that. And yes, my shoulder's still bugging me. I just not bothering to mention it. But yeah, that's still bugging me. Anyway, so tomorrow is going to be the 1-year anniversary of Lala coming to live with us. Yes. You may recall the first week of January 2022 was not a happy one here at the McAleer homestead, because on New Year's Day, we had to go take my father's cat into the vet and have her put to sleep. And then just like 4 days later, my cat, Smokey, who I had had for 13 years, wasn't eating, suddenly felt like skinny. I was like, what the hell's going on? She was acting a little strange. She was still lovable. She was always lovable and affectionate. But I thought, as I had mentioned before, at the time, animals grieve too. Some people don't realize that, but they do. So took her into the vet and turned out she had an inoperable tumor that was killing her. And they were like, well, if you want, we could give her some steroids and some painkillers. You could take her home for the night, say your goodbyes, and come back. And I was like, no, gosh, like tears were pouring down my face. I thought it was, and the funny thing too is my dad's cat, he had for like 15 years or more. And he was more upset about my cat. So I was like, oh my gosh. So went a few weeks without any kitties in the house. I was like, there's no way. Can't do it. Can't do it. So went and got Lala. So her name was Layla. And I'm like, I do not like animals having people's names. So I'm like, yeah, we're going to drop that Y out of there. So that is Lala as of earlier this afternoon. And it's funny, she's sitting on my bed, and I actually have like a throw like blanket that I cover my pillows with, because both cats, because yes, we also have Mango. Both cats like to lay on my pillows. So I covered up with this Chicago Cubs blanket, and I just happened to have my pants sitting on the edge of the bed. And you know how cats are. It's like, boom, they got to go lay on your clothes. Doesn't matter if they had like pet beds all over the place. You could have a shirt laying there. They'll go lay on that shirt. So William says their tuxedo is 15 and he loves it more than his wife. So Madman points out that they've got 3 cats and they're going to be 14. Wow. And yes, it will be a rough day when they go. So Stray Kismet says they've got 2 cats. One they found in a trash compactor. The other is deaf. Cool. Very cool. Yeah. The funny thing is I for years, like as a teenager, I did not like cats. And that was more because my mom didn't really like cats. And then I had to adopt someone's cat. And I was like, wow, nothing like the cats I've encountered before. And the funny thing is, the cats I've had, and I've had quite a few cats in my day now, never act like cats. I never get that whole, oh, I'm busy, or pet me for a second and now I'm leaving. Now my cats tend to like be attached to my hip. So William asks, do I have a sore shoulder from scooping litter? No, it's this shoulder and I'm right-handed. So anyway, so there you have it. There is Lala. And when we hit the 1-year anniversary of Mango joining us, I will share a picture of her too. They both came from the same foster home. So, and it was kind of funny because when I went to go meet the cats, Lala was plumper than I thought she was. And I was kind of like, oh. Because, once you have a fat cat, it's very difficult to get that cat to slim down. And, of course, she's not any slimmer now. But still, I was like, okay. I was like, fine. So anyway, so the Mango and Lala were in the same foster home. And when I picked the 2 of them out, the woman who was fostering them said, oh, that's great. Because Mango is like the only other cat that Lala likes, or Layla at the time likes. So anyway, so William says, hey, I just noticed you're not wearing pants. Actually, I am wearing sweatpants down here. So in the Duct Tape Studios. All right, so there you have it. That is what Lala's looking like as of this afternoon. Last thing I wanted to mention is had an opportunity to catch the first couple of episodes of The Last of You, Me, and Everyone Else, or Us, on HBO. Very impressive. Very impressive. I played the first game, and I thought the first episode really captured that initial opening of the game really, really well. So I can see why people are all excited about Last of Us, because it is really, really well done. So Roger says they found a small tuxedo cat in the street. Was supposed to give it to a neighbor 2 weeks later. It's been 12 years, and he's sleeping right next to the PC screen. Yeah, it's weird how those things happen. Yes, I have always adopted cats. I have never like gone to a pet shop or anything like that. One of my cats, well, it's not my cat anymore, but is with my brother and his family, and she is about 15. Wow. Because when I originally moved out to Arizona, gosh, she might be older than 15. Well, I should say the second time I moved back to Arizona to help my mom out, I was going someplace, couldn't have a cat. So my brother and his family adopted her. And yeah, she is, gosh, yeah, she's got to be 15 or older. And when I got her, I had answered an ad in like a local paper. And sadly, the cat had belonged to the wife of this doctor. And the wife had terminal cancer and just could not have the cat around her anymore. She just could not handle the cat. So I went and picked up the cat from one of the doctor's nurses. So, yep, that's Tigger. So Dante is with us in chat. Welcome aboard. Thanks for swinging on in. So we're going to be diving on into Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, the game, in just a moment. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
This man's business is moving mountains. His pleasure? The thrills of a sports car race. This man has a thirst for adventure. When it comes to beer, he wants Jack's every time, because Jack's is a wonderful adventure in taste.
If you like beer with a capital B, with real beer taste with a capital D, Mellow Jack, smooth and clear, real beer taste for sure. Real beer taste, Jack's.
Jack's has a special way of brewing that captures all the fine, natural flavor of the world's choicest ingredients. Jack's is smooth, brilliant, real beer taste for sure.
Have some Wilkins coffee?
Well, I say, I'll take some.
Surprising how many people are switching to Wilkins coffee.
Into the deepest jungles went Pressman toy makers looking for something new. The secret they brought back for you is incredible. The Pressman Witch Doctor Head Shrinker's Kit. Plastic flesh, mixing cauldron, and petrifying potion. Just pour it into the mold, and in minutes you can add monster hair. Paint it with a coloring kit included, or make up your own decorations. In 24 hours, the heads shrink down. Now, shrunken heads for all occasions. Collect them, swap them, give them to your Witch Doctor friends. You can always cook up more with Pressman's Witch Doctor Head Shrinker's Kit.
When I'm not blowing up mountains or racing sports cars, I like to enjoy beer that no one's ever heard of. It's like, what? And what is with these old beer commercials where the head on the beer is like half the glass? It's like, what? I attended bar for a dozen years. And it's like, if I had served somebody a beer like that, it'd be like, the hell is this? I want the rest of that beer, man. So William says they see those head shrinking kits at toy fairs. You know, the weird thing is, I seem to recall that toy. Not exactly like that, because that like had a huge box and everything. had a cauldron. It was like, what? It's like, okay. Dante points out that rescue cats are so happy to have a forever home. Yeah, and 3 squares. That's for sure. Anthony Good is with us in chat. Welcome aboard. Points out their cat was a rescue. Best pet ever. Sarah D's with us in chat. Welcome aboard, Sarah. So Sarah says, give them to your witch doctor friends. Good way to get cursed. I know, that was kind of bizarre. It's like, what? William says, yes, the shrinking heads that you make with apples. Yes. That I've seen. That's been around forever. In fact, I know someone who has some Christmas decorations where they're like little apple face shrunken like granny faces. But this was sort of, it almost looked like it was Jell-O, because you could see when it came out of the mold, it was kind of jiggling a little bit, and then it would shrink up. So Coco B is with us in chat, says their witch doctor friend once gave them a Zuni fetish doll, and they're no longer friends. So John Muscola is with us, saying that they are a longtime watcher, first-time responder. Well, John, welcome aboard. Thanks for hanging out with us. All right. And somebody, I think it was Dante, mentioned they dig the hat. Yes, I've got a piece of fuzz hanging off of it. Yeah, there's a story behind this hat. So this was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive for Peanuts. So it's Snoopy, and it celebrates the 50th anniversary of the Apollo landing. So I wanted to get one. And if you've ever been to San Diego Comic-Con, those exclusives disappear like that. Many times those exclusives are gone before the doors to the exhibit hall open for the day. So I kept popping over by the Peanuts exhibit booth, you know, and there was always a big long line. So I stood in at one time, and they were out of the hats. So I was like, okay. So I eventually went back, and of course, remember, I've got a press badge. And they had a storefront, because also San Diego Comic-Con, you have a lot of storefronts that remain empty all year long, just so they could be rented out by companies and networks and things like that for San Diego Comic-Con. Well, Peanuts had a store. So I went to the store because there wasn't a huge line. I thought, oh, well, I'll get the hat. They weren't selling the hat at the store. So the bad man I am, that Saturday, I went and I cut through, because I had talked to like the person who was in charge of the store and got their name and everything. So anyway, so I went and I went to the front of the line, and I pointed out, hey, I'm press. I just got done interviewing so-and-so over at the store. And I said, I really wanted to get the hat, but they're not selling the hat. She said, well, just come over, let you know, and this way I don't have to stand in a long line to get the hat. And they were like, oh, yeah, okay. Yup. I know. It was only 5 minutes. And I usually don't try to pull that sort of press. Normally don't do that deal. But it was sort of like, oh man, I'm never going to get this hat. I really want that hat. Because it would sell out for the day. So, hey, luckily they actually had set aside a certain number for each day. Some companies, and we see this at Gen Con, see it at Origins, they just sell out the first day. It's like, oops. I remember that happened with Paizo one year. They did that with was it the second edition core book? I think it was their Pathfinder second edition core book. They sold them all on the Thursday, and all these people came, they had their day passes, and they were like, wait a second, what? So Stray Kismet says, it's still a nice hat. Well, yeah, I like it. That's why I got it. It's not like I took it, and stole it from a little child and pushed them to the ground and walked on top of them or anything. I paid for it. It's not like they gave it to me for free. Alrighty, tonight we are going to dive on it. Hey, I know it's a long show. It's Wednesday. We tend to just hang out and tend to have longer shows on Wednesday. Anyway, today we are going to dive on in and take a first look at Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, the game. Now, this is going to be the deluxe edition from Cryptozoic Entertainment. So, this is for 1 or 2 players, ages 14 and up, plays around 90 minutes per chapter. This deluxe edition has 17 miniatures inside, carries an MSRP of $109.99. So, we're going to swing on over to the other camera, because here I've got Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, the game, deluxe edition. So I'm going to take the shrink wrap off. So something I do want to mention, this is not a review copy. And I mentioned this when I was talking about we were going to take a look at this. So this is not from Cryptozoic Entertainment. I purchased this. And I went to a local game store that I had heard had recently opened up, and I guess it turned out it opened up like 5 months ago. And it is called the Tabletop Game Shop in Oswego, Illinois. So they have another location. I think, if I remember correctly, I think it's Tinley Park. Anyway, this shop is like 10 minutes, 12 minutes away from me. So I swung in to check it out, and they had this available at 70% off. In fact, I think it was more than 70% because it came out, this was $24.95. So, and it carries an MSRP of $109.99, and it still carries an MSRP of $109.99 if you went and bought it through the Cryptozoic Entertainment website. The reason why I'm mentioning where I bought it at is if you find you're interested in this game, I would definitely recommend look up Tabletop Game Shop in Oswego, Illinois, and give them a call, because they had multiple copies of this deluxe edition. And then they also had the edition that doesn't have the minis. It has standees, which was like $14.95, which I think that game has an MSRP of like $70 or something like that. So I did want to mention that. And if you decide you want to check out if they can, if you can buy it and they can ship it to you, by all means, take advantage of that sweet, sweet deal. And if you do that, let them know how you heard about it. Kathy Evans says, that was a good deal. Yeah, that was a smoking deal. All right. You are the Dark Knight. It's time to come out of retirement and save Gotham City. Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, the game is a solo board game experience in which you don the cape and cowl and journey through Frank Miller's iconic comic book series. Instead of traditional leveling up, this is a game of attrition. As Batman, you must come out of retirement and do everything you can to beat back a relentless tide of ruthless mutants, cops, and press looking to bring you down. Get ready to face villains like Two-Face, the Joker, and the leader of the mutant gang, as well as your powerful former ally, Superman. I am a fan of The Dark Knight Returns. I had an opportunity to catch a panel with Stan Lee and Frank Miller, and it was hysterical. I didn't realize Frank Miller was a really entertaining guy. So you may recall back in the 90s, or if you weren't born back then, back in the 90s, comic books got real dark and grim. And part of that can be credited to Frank Miller's, come on, open up box. Jeez. So part of that can be attributed to Frank Miller's run, not only with The Dark Knight Returns, but also his, I mean, it's legendary. His run on Daredevil for Marvel was fantastic. So here we've got our miniatures and an insert. So we're going to look at the miniatures last. We're going to look at everything else. So Stray Kismet says, I think what they're trying to say is they're not Batman. They're just saying you've never seen us both in the same room. There you go, right there. Ouch, meant Batman. All right, so I don't know. There must have been something on here. I don't know. We'll find out. We will find out. So I have pointed out, I have mentioned the graphic novel. And people tend to sit there and say, no, it's not a graphic novel. It was a 4-issue limited series. Right, but when it first came out, it was in a prestige edition. So they weren't regular comics, nor did they have any advertising in them. So they were graphic novels. So here we've got a bunch of punch boards. We'll look at those in a moment. We've got our core rules. So I had to chuckle because on Board Game Geek, the listing for this game, for the artist, it's NA, as in not applicable. It's like, really? Wouldn't you think the artist would be Frank Miller? It's like, okie dokie. So this is broken up into 4 chapters, as far as I understand. And I'm going to move that box out of the way a little bit. I don't want it falling off the table, though. And it looks like we have a rule book for each of the chapters. So this is the core rule book and book 1 rules. So I get, okay, so these are core game rules, and then there's probably special rules for each of the chapters. So if you're not familiar with The Dark Knight Returns, Batman is retired, and he ends up having to come out of retirement to take on some of his old foes, as well as some new ones. And he ends up getting a new Robin. And in the end, we're all Batmen and women. Kevin says, makes you wonder if there's some legal reason they can't use Frank Miller's name. No, they use his art. They use his name. I'm just saying that over on Board Game Geek, they were too lazy to actually put Frank Miller as the artist. His name's all over the box. It says Frank Miller's classic or award-winning. So, right, so here's our game map. So we have a Doomsday Clock. We have Wayne Manor. We have damage tracks, enemy tokens. We've got a deep water region around Gotham. We've got a Gotham City Police Department track. I remember getting back into comics a couple of times. And I grew up as a Marvel fan. But I didn't have any like real hatred of DC. I didn't think DC was crap or anything like that. Like My brother for years was like, I can't stand DC. Well, nowadays, DC actually has the far better art, in my opinion. They have comic book art, not this manga-inspired, cartoony look that many of the Marvel comics have. So I started getting back into comics, and one of the first things I picked up was The Dark Knight Returns, because I had never read it. That was also when I got into The Goon. It was one of my all-time favorite comic books, Eric Powell's The Goon, which was from Dark Horse, if I remember correctly. What a fantastic comic. It's too bad they didn't end up having an opportunity to make the film. And if I remember correctly, I think it was going to be Clancy Brown as the voice of the Goon. And now off the top of my head, I can't. Oh, Paul Giamatti as Frankie. Yes, we're looking at a Batman game, and I'm talking about a comic book from a completely different publisher. All right, so we've got riots, examples of combat. This looks pretty abstracted. Got missions. We've got a boss. It looks like we have a boss for that chapter. So Wayne Manor is a special location on the map only you can access. Moving to Wayne Manor gives you a chance to recover, gives you access to new vehicles. Allies, adversaries, and bosses can't move to Wayne Manor unless a special effect says otherwise. So we've got different vehicles, and to acquire a vehicle, you've got to go to Wayne Manor. Completing a book. When you successfully defeat the boss and complete a book, you need to do some cleaning up before you can begin the next book. This can be a good time to save your progress so you can pick up your playthrough at another time or rewind if you lose. So here we have book one. This is our first mission, our first chapter, I guess we'll say. And it is the search for Two-Face. Batman, dead or retired? Batman trademark. Jeez. Commissioner Gordon, trademark. Batman, dead or retired. They thought you were gone for good. They were wrong. And our enemies are cops, mutants. We've got riots, as well as Two-Face. So that is book one and the core rules. So these other books are just feel like they're just a few pages. In fact, two. So book two is The Dark Knight Triumphant. This is where we get Robin. Book three is The Dark Knight Triumphant. Wasn't that just book two? So this looks like this is the Joker. And this is the Joker portion of The Dark Knight Returns. And then book four, The Dark Knight Falls. The Sons of Batman. So we've got Superman, we've got Green Arrow, should be in this as well. It's been a long time since I read The Dark Knight Returns. So that is book four, and then This is a folder, which I guess we can slide these into to help protect them. That's cool. Or maybe not. They're too wide. Okay, so I'm just looking. There's nothing in the folder. Okay, well, something obviously goes in there. All right, let's look at the punch boards. And then we got a bunch of cards and stuff like that. So, but yeah, as you can see, all the artwork that's being used here is from The Dark Knight Returns. So, anyway, one thing that I didn't know that I learned from the panel with Stan Lee and Frank Miller was that Stan Lee actually gave Frank Miller his start. I thought he started at DC, but it turned out that was not the case. All right, so we've got these are the standees. If you were not using the miniatures, I'm guessing these are your standees. And yes, there is Green Arrow. So we got Batman, Commissioner Gordon, Robin, Green Arrow. Don't remember. Got some Superman tokens there. These are dual-sided. And these are the police. And I'm going to take a guess that these are mutants. If I remember right, I think the leader of the mutants is, I think they call him Cyclops or something like that. All right, so this must be media. Decent card stock on this. Not super thick, but not too bad. All right, so there we got Two-Face. There's the Joker. Batman on horseback. Some other characters, minor characters. There's Superman. William says the folders for your tax returns. Then we have different areas of Gotham, different neighborhoods it looks like there. Bat signals. And then this is no doubt the game board. Looks like it's a pretty good size here. I'll back up actually so you can get a better look here. It's got our action cards, got the different areas of the city, got side area for us to lay cards down. Here's our Gotham City Police Department track. We've got health, grit, and sanity. Got our fight deck. So that is that. Well, there's quite a bit in this. I'll tell you that much. So we've got a bunch of dice. And they look like they're cut. So we'll find out in a second. Looks like we've got a player aid and some other stuff here. We've got, it's kind of funny, open at the end of book 4. So we've got the bases for the standees. So essentially, the standard, well, more dice. Oh, there's actually bat wings on these dice. That's kind of funny. Anyway, I was going to say, well, we can tell that the non-deluxe edition has all of this, just doesn't have the miniatures. Madman says, Jeff, every time you say Batman, I think you're saying Madman. Yes, that's right. It's Madman, The Dark Knight Returns. Looks like we got some 8-sided dice in here as well. So a bunch of different kinds of dice. Yeah, they are cut. So we have, so there you go. There's the bat wings on these. So really, they're 4-sided dice. So we've got black. So this has block and ram. This has POW times 2. Block times 2. So we've got blue, kind of that black, I should say, kind of like a darker blue, almost like the Batman blue. So this is ram, POW, block. And then we have blank sides as well. So we would have a ram, block, blank. So, yep, Kevin says Batwings turned the D6 to a D4. I just mentioned that. So we've got those. And then we have 6-sided dice. And these have like POW and stuff on them. Then we have little 6-sided dice that have little bat symbols on them, as well as POW. Here are some of the 8-sided. Oh, there's boom on this one. Uh-oh, boom. Yeah, POW, boom. Circular symbol there. Huh. Oh, we have flip. We've got flip. We've got flip. Flipping Hands asks, I assume there's a reason for the smaller die. I'm thinking. So it looks like these are police dice, maybe. Because we have handcuffs. We've got block. We have POW. And then we have a baton. A little more light on that there. There's the baton. Well, this has a lot of stuff, I can tell you that much. Then, let's see what this is here. So we've got some oversized tarot-sized cards here. So we've got a 4, 5. So the rounds change? Because these are different. So they have like numbers in the upper right corner. And then we have fight sequences. And they are also different. Huh. Interesting. All right, so it looks like these are our objectives. The search for Two-Face. We will taste Gotham's blood. Not an earthquake. Do not panic. Deadly smile gas. Ooh, geez. Wonder who's behind that, eh? They're about to enter hell. And some of these are a little different on the back. So they have different titles. I am intrigued. That's for certain. And then we've got some baggies. We have, oh, there you go. Got a, what appears to be a dry erase marker. Probably for writing on the board. Then we got a bunch of cards. So we will take a look at some of these. I would guess that we're going to use certain cards for certain books. So Batman, dead or retired? Fights. When you start a fight with cops, lose 1 grit. Now we see Batman. Got Commissioner Gordon, ally card. Boss card, there's Two-Face. The Batcopter, which is a vehicle. Remote control bat, vehicle. Then we get our book 1 enemy tokens. So we've got cops, mutants, riots, and the press, and you can't fight the press. Prototype batarangs. So these are goals. Ultimate training, so calm, so right. It's like we've got events. I would guess we're probably shuffling these all up. And this is all Frank Miller art. So we got fights. So those are all fight events. These men are mine. Then we got detective cards. Heat wave. They said I could never be cured. That's Two-Face. The pearls. Hits me like a freight train. Okay, so I'm guessing this is all for like book 1. Taking a stab in the dark here. And I have to point out, the insert's pretty nice too. We have a verses. Okay, so here we've got, I see down here in the corner is showing the number of the book. What book you're going to use these cards. So this is book 2. The war goes on. So Batman's abilities change from book to book here. So we've got, there's Robin. There's our ally there. The mutant leader. Bat cycle. Bat tank. Our enemy tokens for book 2 are cops, mutants, riots, and press once again. Got a goal of getting the bat tank, smoke bomb, crowbar. Then we got our cards again. So we got fight cards. Maximum checkout. You're in no position to negotiate. One step street pizza. Jeez. It smells of rot and rust. I'm dying, but I can't die. It's Bruce Wayne has had the snot kicked out of him. So the Madman's pointing out they remember watching they saw the first Scooby-Doo episode. I remember Scooby-Doo. I can't necessarily say I recall like how far back it goes. I still, when it's funny because when I always think of Scooby-Doo, I always think of the guest stars. It'd be like, oh, it's Tim Conway. And then it'd be like, oh, look, people who are dead are the guest stars. It's like, oh, okay. Laurel and Hardy, huh? All right. So Batman, I'll count the dead one by one. The Commissioner, Abner, Mary, and Bobby. The Joker. The Batwing. And here are our enemy tokens. So goals here are slingshot, gas mask, disguise. And then into our event, our fight and detective cards. So then we've got our, come on. There's a lot in this game, I'll tell you that much. So Madman says first Scooby-Doo episode aired September 13th, 1969. I would have been less than 2 years old. So I certainly would not remember that. I think the earliest memory I have as a kid is, I can't say if it's Apollo 11, but I remember sitting watching TV with my dad and astronauts were on the moon. All right, so we've got our Sons of Batman. Let's see what we got. We got Tonight We Are the Law. That's where he's riding the horse. There's Green Arrow. Superman. Dark Horse. And the enemy tokens. Sonic Blaster. We've got to have the Superman armor, acid spray, kryptonite arrow, spike boot, Sons of Batman. Really? I'm like, where is the special Superman armor that he builds? So there are fight and our detective cards. Then we got some versus cards. I wonder if this is where you can make it that like 2 players. So one player's taking care of Batman. So Cop Command, Press Command, Mutant Command. Yeah, it looks like that's what this is. This is kind of a 2-player variant is what this deck allows for. And finally, we've got this deck here. This is a small deck. So William points out, yeah, so that was Scooby-Doo back when Velma was heterosexual. Yeah. I have not watched Velma, and I wasn't going to anyway before all the people started freaking out. So this is, I wonder if these are like optional cards to add in. I don't know. Know the locals. Leak information. Oh, maybe these are starter cards. Maybe you always have these cards. Huh. Interesting. All right, so we've got all these dice. We got all these cards. We have the stands for these standees. We've got the tarot size cards that looks like those change as we move through the game. We've got our game board. Like I said, nice insert. And it's pretty solid. We've got our punch boards. We've got our books. Still don't know what this folder's for. So we've got the various different rules there. Let's take a look at the minis. All right, so here's Batman. Tell you what. Okay, so for one, these are not soft plastic. So right there, that is a major bonus. And these look like these would paint up really nice. Right, so here's Batman. So there's the Dark Knights. Here's Robin. And yes, in the Dark Knight Returns, Robin is a young woman. I'm right, I think her name is Bobby. Like I said, it's been a long time since I read Dark Knight Returns. Although I read it multiple times. So here's the leader of the mutants. He's a big roided up guy. So William says, new zoo review and HR Puffin stuff are his first memories. Yeah, I remember good old HR Puff and Puff. I don't remember who this character is. If I remember right, I think I want to say like the Toy Master is in this. Because there are like these little like toys that like are robots or something. So that is the Batcopter. Here's the Dark Horse. Kind of surprised they didn't do a sculpt with Batman riding the horse. I think this is the Batwing. I was going to say, it doesn't look like it wants to focus on that. Come on. There we go. That is the Batwing. Bat Cycle. Come on, Panasonic. Probably not helping that I've got these minis off to the side that it's probably trying to staying focused on. There we go. And yes, the Bat Cycle has a sidecar for Robin. Sarah says their first memory is watching Hulk Hogan get carried out of the ring on a stretcher and freaking out because Sarah thought he was dead and they just happened to live next to a cemetery. So there's the Bat Tank. Here's Superman. And of course, Superman in The Dark Knight Returns is essentially just an agent of the United States. If you ever want to read a cool Superman graphic novel, Red Sun is very good. And it's what if Superman had ended up landing behind the Iron Curtain. There you go. There's the armored suit that he takes on Superman. Very cool. There's the Joker. Green Arrow. And yes, Green Arrow is an amputee. Stray Kismet says they're a fan of Lobo. Lobo was a big deal. Lobo was like DC's Wolverine. All right, here's Two-Face. Took me a second to realize who it was. But yeah, Two-Face undergoes some surgery to repair his face. Right, then next two are the little toys that I was talking about. All right, come on, pick it up. All right, what's up here? Focus. If I put my hand down over this, we'll focus on this now. Took a bit. Said before, I guess, although I hear the new camera releases from Panasonic, their focus is way better. So, because of course they've changed the way they focus. All right, so here's the other one. Let's see now, I picked up on that one pretty quick. And then finally, we have former Commissioner Gordon. So those are the miniatures for Batman The Dark Knight Returns, the game from Cryptozoic Entertainment. It's like Two-Face. There we go. Now he's in there. Sweet. So once again, as I pointed out, this carries an MSRP of $109.99. I got it for the smoking deal of $24.95 over at the Tabletop Game Shop in Oswego, Illinois. See, now it's weird. Didn't look like, was that focused? I don't know. Maybe it was. So, and then since the camera heard you. So anyway, once again, this looks pretty cool. I will have a review of this sometime in the future. Although because it was not sent to me as a review copy, I'm not under any pressure to review it. So, but I will check this out, especially since it's absolutely solitaire. So although it looks like there's some options if you want to have a second player take on the villains, roles of the villains in the game. So yes, I'll be checking this out in the near future. All right. So what's cooking next week? Well, I am supposed to be receiving some stuff from, I want to say it's Third Kingdom Games. They do the populated hexes for Old School Essentials. And they're supposed to be sending me a package of stuff. So I think we'll be taking a look at some of that because it arrives on Monday. Or it's slated to arrive on Monday. So we'll take a look at that stuff on Wednesday. But on Monday's show, we're going to take a first look at Lawson. It is, I keep wanting to say Wicked Secrets, but it's not. It's A Wicked Secret and Other Mysteries from Free League Publishing. And then on Tuesday, we're going to look at Fantasy Hero Complete from from Hero Games, from Fantasy Games. Smack. So folks from Hero Games reached out and asked me if I wanted to take a peek at this and do a review. I said, sure, send it my way. So, of course, if you're not familiar with Hero Games, they are the folks behind the Champions role-playing game. That's probably what you know them best for. So we're going to take a look at that on Tuesday. And then, of course, on Wednesday, we'll take a peek at what arrives, or at least some of the stuff that arrives from Third Kingdom. So pretty sweet. So probably all role-playing game stuff next week, unless something, insane arrives. All right. That is it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It will not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. I'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming review of Pathfinder, the 7th Arch from Paizo Inc. Yes, this is the new adventure path that is just kicked off. This just arrived in stores today. I'm ready to do my review, so I will put that up in the next couple of days. So this is the first part of the Gatewalkers adventure path. All right. So there is that. So if you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, a much bigger thank you, because not only do you keep me company, you keep each other company too while I'm, babbling on. But of course, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you watch live or on Memorex. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy life to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. So enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day happens to be in your part of the woods. And enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend. Of course, I'll be back on Monday. And here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, that's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.